to welcome everyone back to the second episode of Ask the Expert. We promised everyone in the first episode a very exciting guest, and I think we're starting off strong on our first episode with John Lee, our VP of Sales. John, thanks for joining us and welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here, and thank you for the kind introduction.
You're more than welcome.
John, it's great to have you here. It was good to have a meeting with you a couple weeks ago, and just, you loved the meeting we had, and just the fact you were wanting to jump back on the podcast with us, it means a lot. Just kind of the things that we wanted to, the main frame, I guess, of today's episode was just kind of be highlighting our people, sharing a couple, real examples of some real expertise, and just showing off what customers feel when they work with us here at Cope. So
great. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, John, since you are VP of Sales and you have a very interesting background, we'd love to kick this off with just letting you tell us about your story.
Wow, lots of pressure.
Yeah.
My story, it's a long one. I guess it's the older you get, your story gets longer, right?
Yeah.
So I'll start back in the day. I went to University of Kansas. Upon graduating, I, like most folks, didn't really have a good idea what I wanted to do, and everybody said I talked a lot, so I should get in sales. So I started my career in St. Louis, selling large mainframe computer systems. Carried a bag. My territory was large cities like Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and Sykeston. They put you in the boonies when you first start out, and then worked my way up to got married, had some kids, and my first real territory was Bloomington, Illinois, and was there a few years. And obviously, I guess they liked what I did. I became a strategic account executive, moved back to St. Louis, but I always knew that I wanted to eventually get into management. So I kind of worked my butt off and kind of catered, took any management training programs that they'd offer, and I was fortunate enough to sign it up in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. I became regional director for Florida and the Caribbean, which was kind of cool. I got to go to Puerto Rico and some cool places like that. So I really my background is in IT sales, and management. And I had left them after 20. I thought I was going to retire with them, but I had an opportunity. I went to work for Comcast in their fiber optic division, what they call business services. Not does your HBO work or my cable box is defective. We weren't in that. We were in the IT fiber optic side of the business, and did pretty well there. I mean, literally started the business from scratch. They kind of handed me the keys. I had no direct reports, no people. They said you need to hire a team, build out the sales processes and the infrastructure, and did that for a couple of years. And then they expanded. They said, hey, we want you to replicate the same thing you did in Florida up in Nashville. So I had the Southeast then. And I got a phone call from our director of HR, VP of HR, Miss Higgins, who I knew from a previous life a little bit. Didn't know her really well at the time. And she knew that I had an apartment in Nashville. And she said, hey, how moved in are you? I go, why? I have like a recliner and a big screen TV. What else do I need? And came and interviewed with the family. I think we kind of fell in love with each other. Took so I met with them on a Monday, and on Wednesday they wanted to meet again. And I do remember it was like -2 degrees. So that was influencing my decision. It was really cold. And I was like, what am I doing? And I've been with Cope for 14 years and don't regret a minute of it. Our current organization is, I don't know if you've told on your first, how I wasn't on the first podcast it's a whole separate question, Carly.
We had to prove ourselves first. We had to prove ourselves before having you on.
Proof of concept, man. Proof of concept.
So, yeah, I mean, I came to Cope 14 years ago, not really knowing plastics. Obviously, the beauty of sales and marketing is sales has become more of a science. So if you know sales, you know this process, anybody can sit and learn about plastics, and it's just taking those processes and making them work. So, we kind of did some organizational changes and aligned it. So we're kind of all paddling in the same direction. Been here, like I said, 14 years. Is today my anniversary? I think it might be. Maybe it's 13 years today. I think. Look at you. Didn't even know that.
Congratulations. What awesome
Yeah.
timing.
Waiting for my plaque. Do I get a plaque or something? I don't
It was
know.
Around
on
at
purpose.
13.
Don't worry. We did our
I
research.
get to be
It
in a
was on purpose.
podcast. That's what I get for my anniversary.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Would have had a cake ready if I knew.
So, knee deep in cope. As you guys know, you learn something new about this business every day.
Yep.
Whether it's UHMW or a new vendor or recycling or new customer, it's really, I think that's why I find it so interesting. Is every day is a different journey, different story, and no day is the same. And Carly, being in marketing, I'm sure you can appreciate that, whether it's how we go
Yes.
to market with stuff or who do we attack. And so, like I said, been over sales and marketing for 14 years. There's about 107 people in our organization and the sales and marketing organization. Direct reports, I got 4 regional directors, director of marketing, director of sales administration. You might know the director of marketing, you probably heard of her. And director of graphics and distribution, which is Joe Laker. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. It's been, like I said, a journey. We've done some really good things, I think, as a group at Cope. You know, when I came here, we were about $80 million a year. We're a $100 million plus company. We've grown, I think, the right way. Make mistakes every now and then, but that's kind of business. So that's kind of the journey.
It's awesome. It's so funny to hear you talk about your journey in a full circle moment, how you are from the St. Louis metro area and Cope's headquartered in Alton, and your career took you to Florida. And then now here you are back in St. Louis, a company that's run in St. Louis, but still living in Florida. So I guess
and
cold weather
it's kind of the
didn't make you come
future,
back.
though. I mean, if you think about it, because I actually had an apartment in St. Louis for the first couple of years and would be back and forth. I don't have anybody that works out of corporate. I have Jenny and Tina. All my people are all over the US. So I'm either at a vendor or traveling to a branch or a customer potentially. So, and this Teams thing is kind of a beautiful thing, right?
Very much so.
It's like I said, it's kind of the future. So, but no regrets. Work for, as you guys can attest, to some of Midwestern salt of the earth folks that let us run our business and give us guidance when we need it, and are still involved. I mean, our president Jane and Roxanne, our director, who are both daughters to the grandfather, to Dwight Cope, to the founder, grew up cleaning bathrooms and stocking, to being an AM. Jace, I don't know if you know this, but Jane was an account manager back in the day.
Oh yeah, we talked about that at length.
Roxanne did, they were forced to wear a lot of hats, kind of similar to what my father made me do back in the day, and that's how you learn good ethics and so forth. So,
speaking of ethics, John, if you could pick one moment in your career, what would that moment that shaped you the most professionally be?
any moment, any Cope moment, or before?
Any moment, just for all the young professionals out there not really sticking to cope or plastics, that what shaped you the most professionally as people coming up?
I might go a little deep, and this not to be corny. So I was, back in my parents' day when they had me, people got married young. My dad knew he was gonna be drafted into Vietnam, and him and my mom got married at like 20. I was born a year later, was an Air Force brat. And where I'm getting at is when he got out of the service, he went to UMSL undergrad, got his 4-year degree, kept going, SIUE, got his master's, worked at nights. He was a night manager. I don't think it was around anymore, but the Christian hospitals.
Yeah.
My father was administrator there when I was a kid. First he was night manager, and then became administrator, and then became VP when Christian Hospital Northeast opened. And that's how we moved back to St. Louis. And the reason I tell you that story is my father I shouldn't say brag, didn't talk a lot about his career, but as a kid, you kind of watch his work ethic. And he used to take me to night class with him, because I guess I didn't see him. I was, 4 or 5 years old or whatever. And lost his father young. So he kind of made it his own mission to, he had a responsibility. He had 3 kids under 5 by the time he was 26, 27 years old. So he did that whole, so I think just watching how he observed, and then he went on to become president of a healthcare company in Pennsylvania. That's how we moved after high school. And I don't say that in a braggart to brag on any level, but one thing I used to notice is, and you might be able to say, Carly, somebody's been around me more than Jace. I'm John, I'm not Mr. Lee. My father, whether it was a janitor or as a president of another hospital or healthcare corporation, people called him Mike. His employees, he just had a really good way of dealing with his employees. There was that kind of, they knew their roles and responsibility, kind of that friend factor. But hey, here's our business. Here's what we need to do to be successful. But it was very, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Just very comfortable in how he treated his employees. And even when I had summer jobs at his place during college, I would, you kind of watch that as a kid, how people interact. And I think that kind of helped shape me because I've worked for people that I knew if I ever had responsibility, I didn't want to be that person. So I think my mantra is pretty simple. I like to treat people like adults. I want to be surrounded by adults. I also understand work-life, family balance. All that stuff matters, especially these days more than ever. And so I think if watching him as a work role model probably helped shape how I would act if I ever got in that position to manage anybody or whatever. Doesn't mean you can't have tough conversations or be direct about certain stuff. But I remember our first interaction. You didn't know me. And well, our first interaction was your internship. You kind of quizzed me. And then when we were at Forest Park doing the boat races, that's how you got the Bulldog name. You didn't know that, Jace.
Yep.
No, I didn't.
I
I
can't
was
Jace
say
wondering
wasn't
on
here
about
the
that
yet.
little
podcast
piece
what
of
she said to
lore.
me, but I kind of put my arm around her. She goes, "Are you ready?" She's like, "Let's get these blank blanks or something. Let's go." And I go, "Okay, Bulldog, calm down." So,
I'm talking about.
I think when you
Okay.
have that relationship as a manager, a mutual respect kind of develops, and people want to work for people like that or do the right thing or not disappoint. And I don't do it for kiss ass reasons or anything. I do it, that's kind of who I am. But I think people react much better to that. And I don't know if you guys have had similar experiences for people you didn't want to work for. You're like, oh God,
Yeah.
it matters, especially these days. People are more sensitive.
You can say that again. No, John, that was a beautiful story, and thank you for sharing it with us. And yeah, definitely, I've been here since an intern, and I've had great bosses the whole way. So
You do.
Yeah.
I know her. She's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yep. John, just to wrap up your story and the personal side of things, is there anything just about yourself that you want people to know? That you want something for people to know that shines your personality other than just your title of VP?
I think it's interesting as you get older because you guys are in the first quarter of your career. I'm in the fourth quarter. Whether it's God willing, 5, 6, 7, 8 more years. And hopefully I don't drink, but maybe I need to start. Anything with an umbrella in it. I'd be fine. Play more golf. And I got this from my mom. It's interesting because my father, very successful. By the way, he went on to get his doctorate at Georgetown later on in life. I'll tell you a funny story about that. My father was a very, very bright man. We would sit at Thanksgiving, all his grandkids. When you have grandkids, you'll get this one day. He kind of would hold court, right? And he was Poppy to them. And he would come out at Thanksgiving dinner in his doctorate garb. What you get at graduation with the hat and oh yeah. And then he would get out his diploma or his transcripts, and just kind of, I said, we know that. Okay, you can put it away. You can take off and I jokingly said, he's passed now, but I jokingly said at his funeral, I said, you all know him as Mike. To us kids, we called him Dr. Lee. So I think, but what's interesting is, so my mom and dad were such a dichotomy. So my dad, very educated, focused. I played baseball in college. My brother played soccer, so we're very sports oriented. My mom was the athlete. My dad, not so much. My dad was so it kind of
I
worked.
love it. I love
Um,
it.
my mom and I got this, and I think people that know me, I'm very competitive. Sometimes, and I think that plays well in business. Sometimes maybe not so much. Sometimes you got to take a step back. As I get up there in age, I think I've kind of softened or mellowed a little bit, but I know when I carried a bag or sold day to day, my goal was to get my quota done in like 9 or 10 months. Took the pressure off, and it also helped I get my golf game in shape. But I'm competitive by nature. Um, I'm very loyal. I'm loyal to my folks. I'm loyal to this company. Um, they've been very good to me and to our folks, and their heart is always in the right place, which is you don't get that very very often. And I came from a very large public, 125,000 employees, where I was a decent sized fish in an ocean, and now I'm a catfish in a pond, a little bit bigger fish in a pond. But you wouldn't know it they treat everybody the same. Family does, and there's some beauty of family-run businesses aren't what they used to be. Well, this is kind of what they used to be still. We're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes, but I think that's probably it. I think loyalty and competitive by nature.
Love it.
It's tough for me to let my granddaughter win at anything. I'm working on it. I'm coachable.
Gotta keep him humble.
Yeah, why not? Can't win at everything.
No.
No.
Wait, what Will Ferrell, what was it he say?
If
Winning from
If you ain't first,
you're
you're
not first, you're
last.
last.
you ain't first or last. It's a little too aggressive, but I kind of like it. So
I like it.
Well, John, I got an interesting question for you. So something that we kind of talked about, especially on the first episode, and kind of planning on the second episode. So first impressions of performance plastics are something that I feel like a lot of people, when they hop into this specific industry, and when we talk about Cope as a whole, everyone is always has a totally different approach to what we do as an industry. So what did you think about performance plastics before joining Cope? Like, was that even something that was on your radar, or was it just a learned experience whenever you decided you had
not
to
on my
sell it?
radar. I like a challenge.
Mhm.
I think people from outside outside of the performance plastics world think of red Solo cups or Publix bags or whatever, and it it's like saying a bad word, like saying the F word in the business. Oh, plastics. Oh my God, you environmental people hate you, whatever. So um, I think the perception has gotten better by what we
Mhm.
do. But as far as look, I spent the first year of you've seen some of those books and some of those documentations that Mike Anderson, I don't know, he's not here any longer, in the back would have on whether it's nylon or polyolefins or UH or acetals or acrylics. Uh, the amount you have to know, like I said, I've been here 13 years, I learn new stuff every day. Do you know what MDF is? Me neither. I didn't know about it either until like a week or two ago.
I'd have to agree
We
with
don't
you,
really
Joe.
sell it. I kind of
Yeah.
focus on our portfolio, but as you get in, I tell people, especially folks like you, Jason, been with us that long, is you're going to learn something new every day.
Yeah.
And you're drinking through 5 fire hoses. But don't be hard on yourself because it'll come to you. It'll start clicking eventually, and you're never going to know everything unless I get bored easy, and this place doesn't allow you to get bored.
Yep. I think that's a
Or the
perfect way to
industry
put it.
doesn't allow you to get bored.
I don't think I've been bored a single day just
No.
learning about some of the different materials that we just touch every day,
And it's not for everybody. There's people that have come that we
No.
thought, oh, this guy or gal's gonna be great, and they were here a couple of months and I think they liked it, but I think they felt overwhelmed. And it's easy to feel that way if you don't kind of pace yourself and not be hard on yourself and
Agreed.
realize it'll come. So
Awesome. Well, no, John, thank you. Not only did he answer all of the bullet points, he hit on several that I wish I would have written down previous to that. So
because I'm hold on, let me get my business cards because I'm a bigwig. You know. Oh, I don't have it. By the way, did we get rid of these?
Yes, we did.
Good. I don't like them.
Good. You're
Did
welcome.
you like them? Did you like them?
They're okay. They were bad.
What else we got?
Well, John, I think that takes us perfectly into misconceptions about polymers while we're talking about everything, that it does. And you already touched on red solo cups, but what are some other misconceptions that you hear and want to make clear?
Our stuff usually doesn't end up in a landfill or in the Pacific Ocean and in the big pollution, whatever they call. What's the term they use for that place out there? Like there's a dead zone in the Pacific where all the trash kind of
like the
circles.
huge floating garbage patch.
Yeah, something like that. We have a processing center. We recycle, we repurpose. So if you get, and you think about what we replace a lot of times in steel and other composites, our stuff lasts a long time, right? And when we make items or fabricate stuff, we take scrap, we recycle it, we send it back to our OEMs, they regrind it, they repurpose it and sell us back repro. Our stuff is actually environmentally friendly in the sense that of how it's used and utilized. Where our customers and Cope are very cognizant about, we don't fill up garbage bins or gaylords and send them to the dump. Just not what we do or how we roll. The other thing is, plastics, you think about, I'm not going to compare it to electricity or air conditioning or whatever, but you think about everything that you own or touch on a daily basis probably has some type of plastic component in it,
100%.
right? So, yeah, I think when they think about styrofoam or red solo cup, they immediately, oh my God, you environmental killer people, and we really have nothing to do with any of that. So I think it's interesting to me because when I don't know if you guys felt the same way when just to name Cope Plastics, having the name on your part of the company. If you ever told anybody, hey, what do you do for a living, Carly? Well, I'm working marketing for a company called Cope Plastics. Oh, plastics, really? Oops, I'm sorry. So you got to kind of explain kind of what we did, right? So yeah, I have no qualms and about telling people the truth. So
Love it. One of my favorite ones is sporks too. Always sporks for some reason.
Because they're handy. Let's not lie to ourselves here. It's both the best and the worst of both worlds, but it's still handy dandy.
Fair enough.
it's truth.
So, John, besides misconceptions and the recycling portion of things, where do people tend to underestimate our performance plastic?
Underestimate. What do you mean by underestimate?
Just limitations, maybe.
I think, maybe not our stuff, but you guys have heard Elon Musk. All those rockets go up. A lot of times it's nylon used to fuel it, like liquefied nylon, or there's some part component on there. The durability when we're out there, there's multiple plastic components on fighter jets. All the crops and all the agriculture, whether it's a combine, has multiple. Part of our largest customers are in the ag business. So you look at the utilization of our plastic components and what it's done. You talk about environmental friendly. It's helped save them on fuel efficiency. It's lighter, sometimes more durable, doesn't rust. And then you could go to the food grade side, whether it's a cutting board or you go into a Subway on FDA compliant stuff. So yeah, I think people need to understand. I mean, we do because we live it and breathe it every day, but people need to understand the viability and the importance of plastic in just our world. Does it mean that some could be better or maybe more environmentally friendly? Yeah, but I think a lot of that stuff's been weeded out. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing, and I challenge anybody to think about what you touch every day that has some type of plastic component. iPhone cover, phone. I mean, you name it, right? Yeah, I'm serious. So I don't know if
100%.
that answered your question or not.
That's exactly the point that I brought up in our first episode, was just how touched everything in our lives is by some form of plastic. Because people, like you said, it's so easy to fall back on and say, oh, well, every time I go to Walmart, all I see is single-use plastics. But what they're not seeing is that the dollies, the crates, the literal physical building blocks of some of that store that's all plastic. You go into the pharmacies in the back, a lot of that stuff back there, it's all plastic. You go to any ag company, any car dealership, any manufacturing
And it may
plant,
not be stuff that we do. It's probably injected, molded, or
yeah.
thermoformed or whatever, but still, it's probably from the same resin, depending on what type of, or whether it's rubber too. You can even throw rubber in there. And you look at, um, you said it. I mean, any application, anything so I challenge myself. You guys are gonna be haters now, and that's okay. I can take it. I got an e-bike, bought myself an e-bike.
No hate here. I will have one before.
Dude, I got it.
I think you
I
got
can't even
it.
say it, Jace. I got it. So I bought my
Wow.
wife one too. Hers looks like something from Mary Poppins. It's got a little basket. It can go to, it's light
Yep, yep.
blue. It's cute. It can go to like 20 miles an hour. I got one called an Edikina, Edikina. I think, I don't know if I said that right. It goes like 55 miles an hour if you wanted to. Um,
Yes.
Half of it's plastic. It's got the alloys and the
Mhm.
graphics, but I mean, all the battery components. And here's the thing, when they talk about e-cars, e-bikes, Teslas, as we get into these e-vehicles, drones, all that stuff is probably 40% plastic.
Polymer, like a lithium. It's like, aren't some of them like the
All the
lithium
battery
polymer
components,
batteries?
the
Yeah.
lithium racking, the storage, all these data centers are building. And what are some of the reasons why? Lighter, cheaper, doesn't conduct electricity, sometimes resistant to corrosion from batteries, all that stuff. Some of that's above my pay grade, but the amount of business, one product we do now that you've probably heard us talk about are those duct bank spacers. There are large sheets of high density. They're building these data centers. You think about these conduits where these large electrical cables run through that are buried in concrete or in dirt to keep them separated. So all that stuff is allowed expansion of our footprint, our GDP as a country. There's just not as much appreciation as I think there should be, but it kind of is what it is. So
The unsung hero, right?
yeah, I don't know that, I don't think I'm looking for plastics to win the Nobel Peace Prize or anything, but the viability of what, I'm sitting there at my desk now looking at whether it's my PC station, some books I have, canes, those are my dad's old canes over there, to my printer, plastic.
Yep.
John, I think you answered my last two questions. I think, first of all, I think you answered that, plastics are limitless, really, the possibilities are limitless. And a specific application to help people rethink plastics is definitely the e-bike. That was a first for me. That was awesome. And I'll hand it over to Jace now.
Off yet.
No,
So
that's awesome.
it begs the question, and you kind of touched it on just a little bit when you were talking about, when you think of cope, those aren't necessarily things we're thinking of falling into a landfill or being on the like gigantic trash berg of trash floating around the open. So you've worked in sales, not only at Cope, but at other places at a high enough level to be able to kind of see the bigger picture of things. So in your perspective, what makes Cope different than some of these other companies out here?
couple things. Our sales force, which kind of bleeds into our people in general, family owned.
Yep.
Our customer service. Carly can tell you about our NPS score that we've been doing for what, 10 years now, 7, 8 years,
Longer than I've been here.
companies like American Express, GE, Boeing, all those companies tend to do the same type of score, just get a barometer of how you're doing, how your customer's perception is. And we score always in the top 10 percentile of that score, which is not hard to do. We are servants at heart. We go above and beyond for our customers to the point of sometimes I scratch our head and go, why we do that? But you know what? At the end of the day, customer's always right. And it matters. Our tenure of our people, I think the average tenure of folks in fabrication is like 30 some years. There's a lot of tribal knowledge on not only performance plastics, but on fabrication and what we do and what our capabilities are. So not a lot of people have that. We're not a distributor. We're a fabricator that also distributes. People say, I'm a distribution, but we make stuff. We're a fabricator too. No, we were founded as a distributor. We'll always be a distributor. That's how Dwight envisioned this some 80 years ago. But what makes us different is our fabrication capabilities. So remember that we're a fabricator that distributes. And so hopefully that answers your question.
And then some.
Good. Do I get like a plaque or a t-shirt from doing this?
I'll work it in the budget that you approve.
Ask the expert. I think we need to come with a better name.
That hurts my heart as the original co-host, but
Oh,
all
did
right.
you name it? Did you name it?
I did name it.
Yeah, she worked really hard on that.
So when you have your first child, I'll make sure to not say, oh, why you name it something else.
No, go ahead.
I like Ask the Expert. Maybe put cope in there or something.
Yeah.
Copification.
All
There we
right,
go.
people, you heard it first.
By the way,
The
I
cope
almost
corner.
came in today.
New name.
I was almost going to bring from outside 2 ferns.
There we go. Yeah. We could call it the Cope Corner.
Yeah, and
oh, I like that.
I like
Right.
that.
John, so wrapping up, kind of bridging away from plastics here just a little bit, kind of combining, Cope and sales. What, Cope is a national company. We have branches all over the US. What is your approach to leading a national sales team?
Having the right people. It's really 3 P's. And I've said this before in meetings. People, right people, the right process, you get payoff, right? So I'm very fortunate for the people that work directly for me. I have some rock stars. Oh, this is going to be public. Are they going to be able to hear that I said that out loud?
Yeah.
Crap. Okay. 4 out of the 7 are pretty good. No, I have some really good folks that work for me. That takes pressure off me that I trust them. And the other thing I would say, and you guys asked earlier about, not necessarily management style, but things that shape me. I'm a strong believer. Somebody grew up through the ranks, carrying a bag to regional manager to director to whatever, that those that are closest to the customer are the best at making a decision. So doesn't mean that I won't get involved or regional wouldn't get involved, but having somebody in Peoria knows a hell of a lot more about Caterpillar on a day-to-day basis than I do. Now, that doesn't mean I won't carry the mantra, or if there's something that COPE stands for that we need to stop or whatever, I will make, I guess I could be the final decision, but at the end of the day, those folks that are closest to the customer are best at making a decision. So if you ever become a manager, if that's one of your goals, that's the number one thing, if you can ever remember from this conversation, is make sure, and maybe you have to wait, but make sure you get the right people working for you.
Love it.
And it makes your life a lot easier. And I think you guys have been here, Carly, we've been here 4 years now, full time?
6. Oh, full-time
6?
3. Full-time
3.
3. Sorry.
Jace, what are you at, a year?
In 2 months, yeah, it'll be a year.
So you guys have worked other places, whether part-time or not. Having the right people matters.
Yep.
And, I can't stress that. I've repeated myself, but I think that's kind of part of the secret sauce uh, as an organization, and that really makes us different. And if you talk to our vendors um, across the board, they will say that about Coke. You can feel it when they come to our national sales meetings. You hear them tell us all the time, and they're not saying it because we're their customer. I've heard it from customers and from them alike that's what makes us what makes us different. So
I agree. Speaking of the differentiation and our people, how do you, because they're spread everywhere, how do you empower these local teams while still driving shared goals?
so we have processes, we have static meetings, we excuse me real quick. I'm sure about my drinking here. uh, Kind of rules of engagement, meetings. I'm available 24/7. I was talking to two of them this morning, 6 in the morning. So communication is a key. I think if you talk to the director of purchasing, I don't know if you've ever met her or not.
No.
She's a nice lady. She heard she likes horses.
For those watching, the director of purchasing is my mother. It's a family-run
You
company.
went there. I wasn't going to go there. Oh, I think she would tell you, and maybe she's told you this in private, and I'm not looking for compliments, that I think one thing that she thought when I came on board is communication. I over communicate, which is probably good and bad. I think for the most part good though, because
Sure.
especially when you're a diverse company and you're spread out and you need to understand our goals and objectives, measure them, but being able to communicate them to your folks and to the whether you're a warehouse worker in Fargo or a router worker in Little Rock, right? Understanding our goals and objectives and being able to communicate. But I think communication is the key. And obviously, you got your basic blocking and tackling of reporting and meetings and stuff like that happen every week. But for the most part, I think uh, communication.
Well, thank you, John. I love the insight into your leadership philosophy. I think it'll be helpful for many people in the industry.
Good.
So we've kind of been going a little bit here.
We
I
wrapping
wanna
this thing up because
Good question.
I make like $14 an hour and I got to get back to work.
No. So I was going to hit you with a couple of rapid fire questions here at the end, just kind of wrap it up so we can kind of get a good.
Are they clean?
Good.
You gonna keep them clean, Jace?
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
We're gonna do our best.
All
here.
I can ask.
So quickly, something that excites you most about the future of Coke Plastics. What trends are you kind of looking for in performance plastics? Where do you see growth opportunities for some of our customers? And speaking of our customers and our employees alike, what should we be excited about through Coke Plastics this year?
Anything else?
Yeah.
No, I got that. See, yeah, you're good. We're good.
Just those.
I said rapid fire.
Rapid fire usually means like yes or no, and hey, what's your favorite color? Blue. Okay, that's rapid fire. It's actually green.
These are
by the way.
data-based essay questions.
Green, by the way. What gets me most excited? I guess the future. I think AI is going to play a role in our business.
Yeah.
I think understanding that can be a little bit overwhelming.
Mm.
And I think it's the type of thing nobody will ever fully understand. It's continued expansion of Cope's footprint, new customers. One thing I did is we kind of call our area Copeland. Anything outside of our area, non-Copeland, where we get outside of our comfort box, we're having a lot of success outside of Copeland, and whether in Florida or North Carolina or California or so forth, we've really kind of expanded our sales footprint. That excites me. It's been a weird time. COVID was weird. We did really, really well during COVID, but it was kind of like a false high, so to speak. We've kind of come back to our normal trend, if you will. And I think also what excites me is the next generation. Who's going to be next? Helping train Jace, hopefully you're here in 10 years. What do you want to do in 5? Do you want to be a branch manager eventually? You want to get into market? You know, those are things that help and develop the next generation kind of excites me. And as far as trends, I think robotics, AI, you're going to see Cope's already invested in a lot of robotic technology. AI and data centers are going to define construction in this country for a while. And I think we'll play a part in that too. So those are some of the things off the top of my head.
Very cool.
And my favorite color is green, like I said, not blue.
Very nice. I can live with that. Write that down.
Please.
But I mean, I guess the last one here. So what's something that we should be excited about? What's something that we, you know, might have something to look forward to, both the growth opportunity, expansion opportunity, thing like that?
I think you kind of said it, expansion. We're always looking at places we can go outside of Copeland or buy that fits what we do. You know, companies make mistakes sometimes of saying buying a business that they think might fit, and maybe it necessarily doesn't, right? So I think there's going to be some of that expansion for Cope. I also think there's a lot of reinvestment in the company, whether it's through machinery or technology or AI. We've seen that, and Carly could attest in some of the applications that we use in marketing, right? And namely, not that you two are younger than me, but you're a little bit younger than me. Just a little bit, just like 4 or 5 decades, maybe, maybe a couple 20 years or something. Is there's going to be some opportunity for you youngins to lead this organization in 10, 15, 20 years, you know. At some point, Dean's going to retire in the next 4 or 5 years, you know. The beauty of the virtue of having so much tenure is also a shortcoming is who's next? What's the next generation of Cope look like, you know? I'm probably the 3rd generation or 4th since Cope was founded 80 years ago. You know, you figure Dwight in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, and then you had somebody in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and, you know, I've come here in the 2010s. So who's next, right? And helping develop those people. So I think that's things that employees should be, especially your generation, should be excited about. This is a great place to stay as long as you want and make a good living, provide for your family, and your Cope people, your Cope associates become your family, you know? So.
Well, John, to line things up and to end things off after Jace just drilled you with some pretty heavy questions. First of all, I just want to say thank you for taking your time.
Just remember, I do his boss's review. So right? I do. Yeah.
Write that down.
Write that down.
Definitely. But no, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us, sharing your knowledge. But
absolutely,
I think everyone's picked up that we're all pretty fun-loving, goofy people. So I wanted to end this with a joke, a roast of sorts. What's one thing your sales team would roast you for if they were sitting here with us right now today?
Roast?
Roast. Let's be honest here. What are we roasting you for?
Probably a couple things. One, Lee-isms. I used to have Lee-isms.
Okay.
News at 11. Brent probably has a list.
Sure.
2 is I expect them to have ESP sometimes. Tina especially. And for those of you who don't know, Tina Mauser is our Director of Sales Administration. I expect her to read my mind, and she's not really good at it. She's gotten better. And like I said, this is a podcast, so I can be honest. I've given up a few words for Lent, and the struggle's been real. Just saying.